Okay, so this question, 2 marks. Can n actually be equal to minus 2? No. So it's greater than. So you have an open circle at 2. It can actually be 3. So you have a filled in circle at 3. And it's anywhere between the 2. Is that okay with everyone? Yeah, we all okay with that? Right, now, when you have an inequality, what you have to do is treat this as an equal sign and treat it as a normal equation and solve it, but then put that sign back in afterwards. Okay, so when I've got x's on both sides, so the first thing I want to do is SS, which is subtract the smallest number of x's. So which side has got the smallest number of x's? It's the 6x on this side. So I take 6x off both sides, because whatever I do to one, I have to do to the other. So I end up with 2x minus 3. I'm still going to put that sign in, is greater than or equal to 4, but I'm just going to leave it and treat it as though it's an equal sign. Right, I want everything with x on one side, everything else on the other. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So I get 2x, still the same sign, greater than or equal to, and then that's 7. And then I don't want 2x, I just want 1x. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2 to get 1x. And I get greater than or equal to 7 over 2. It's fine leaving it like that, or you can actually write 3.5. But the sign's got to be the same. So some people did it perfectly, but then put equal to, and you're not going to get the right marks. Are there any questions? Is that okay? Right. Now, I think some people here didn't know what an integer was. An integer is a whole number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And actually 0 isn't an integer, which is another thing altogether. But it's one of the counting numbers. So it wants you to find the smallest value of x. So it can't be a fraction or a decimal. So I'm going to solve it just like I did before on the question above. So I only want the x's, so I'm taking 5 off both sides, and I get 3x is greater than 11. I don't want 3x, I want 1x, so I divide both sides by 3, and I get is greater than 11 over 3. And 11 divided by 3 is 3 2/3. Right, if I think about this, x is going to be greater, so some people went the wrong way. This is 3 2/3. What's the first whole number bigger than 3? And that's 4. So, and it's not greater than, the smallest value of x was x equals 4. So you had to put equals 4. So a couple of really subtle things. So a lot of you said 3 because you went the wrong side of it. Any questions on that one? Is that okay? Right. Question 10. So again, same thing. I want e on its own first of all. I take e off both sides and I get 4e plus 3 is greater than 12. I just want to find out what e is, so I take 3 off both sides and I get is greater than 9. I don't want 4e, I want 1e, so I divide both sides by 4 and it's greater than 9 over 4. So you can literally write e is greater than 9 over 4, or e is greater than 2 1/4. E is greater than 2 1/4 or 2.25. Either of those will do. Any questions? So every time you're keeping the sign exactly where it was and treating it like that. Now this one, a lot of you are struggling with this. This is a particular case. Whatever this is, x plus y, if I called it equal to, if I just plot equal to a, what you actually get is you get a line going through x and y at that number. And it works the same every single time. Because if I did a table of values have got to work out x and y, and they've got to add to 1. So whatever they are, it's got to be 1 every time. So if I try some different values, when x is 0, I need to add 1 to it to make 1. When x is 1, I need to add nothing on it to make 1. If x was 2, I'd need to take away 1 to make 1. So if I tried plotting that, I get 0, 1, I get 1, 0, and I get 2 minus 1. And if you carried on your table of values, you'd see that it worked like that all the way through. So you end up with a line like this. Right, so this here is always what this value is here. Right, now I just need to test a point. It wanted it to be bigger than that. So I'm just going to test any point at all. So I'm going to get this point 2, 1. It wanted you to add them, and that was equal to 3. Is 3 greater than 1? Yes, it is, so it's this side of the line. Is that okay with everyone? And you'll find you need to use that now on the next question. So every single time, this is a special case, x plus y equals something, it always goes through those two. Right, so be really careful about where your lines are going through. Right, so using what I did before on the last one, we decided, so 1 and 5 would make 6, and 2 and 4, and 3 and 3, and 4 and 2, and 5 and 1. So this here is this line through there. That is the line x plus y equals 6. Now what you need to do is decide which side of it do I need to be. It's got to be less than 6. What about if I pick 0, 0? When x is 0 and y is 0 and I add them together, what do I get? 0. Is that less than 6? Yeah, so I need this side of the line. So I'm going to just put a little arrow. I want this side of my line. Right, I'm going to draw x equals minus 1. Be really careful. X equals minus 1 is here. So it's a line going through this point. And if it was greater, it would be this side of the line. Are we happy with that? And then y is equal to 2. Well, y is equal to 2 here. So that's a line going through there. And if it's greater than 2, it's this side of the line. So I've got this side of this line, this side of this line, and then when you fill it all in, it's this region here. Are there any questions on that? We all okay with that? So be careful that I think people do their x and y the wrong way round because they think the y-axis goes down.
It does, doesn't it?
It does, yes, but it goes through y, so